All right, so for everybody that's on right now, I'd like to welcome you guys to the Western Queens area workshop. We do this on the second Monday of every month. I think this is either the third or the fourth workshop that we've had on Zoom. And we've been addressing different issues. At each workshop, we address a different issue that might be, something that would be applicable to, where you guys are, either as a service body, or as a group, or just as a member. The first two were circling, we were talking about how we can go about opening meetings safely. And then the second one was about, once the meetings are open, maybe introducing the idea of doing a hybrid meeting. And this one, so it is three. So this one here is consensus-based decision-making. And how we came up with the idea of the consensus-based decision-making was mainly because a lot of groups are in the process of having discussions about what they're going to do as far as opening, how they're going to go about opening, whether they're going to do hybrids or not. So if you see, if you've been coming to all of the workshops, you'll see that it kind of is being done in an order that's hopefully going to bring you to the final decision. And what I have found just through discussion with other members and witnessing it myself, I see that sometimes there's a lot of contention as far as what the right way about opening a meeting, or how we're going to go about setting up a hybrid or not. And then the discussion starts, and it's really kind of split. And I don't know. Sometimes, people wind up leaving the meeting feeling as if their voice wasn't heard, because whatever the issue was voted on, and it was really like a narrow margin. So, then the question of whether it being a true group conscious comes into play. I just, whenever we do these workshops, what I try to do, I'm learning this stuff also as a member of the fellowship. I always take a look at whatever the issue is, and then I'd like to see what tradition or what concept would apply to what it is that we're doing. Obviously, the fifth tradition, if I'm correct, I'm still learning this stuff, so I don't know it by heart. But yeah, it's the fifth tradition. And that's the main reason for doing this, is so that way we can carry our message. That's our primary purpose. But then as we address other issues, different traditions and concepts come into play. And I thought about the first tradition when we started talking about consensus-based decision-making. In order to come to, a consensus, it requires unity. And our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on NA unity. And I think when it comes to making a decision, to have a unified outcome is much more, the fellowship stands to benefit more when we're kind of all in line with each other. And I'll tell you something, when I first started to come around, traditions and concepts were no concern of mine, because my main reason for being around was to get clean. But once that happened, I had this desire to start giving back again. And then I started to learn that part of giving back is being of service, and part of being of service is recognizing and knowing what traditions and concepts apply to whatever it is that's being addressed. So I just want to run through this real quick because, I think, through experience, I've read about the traditions, I've read about concepts, but it wasn't until I had until I was able to apply what it is that I was reading, that I was able to truly understand it. And, smack in the middle of our concepts, I believe it's hang on one second here. I think it starts at 6. I'm just pointing out a couple. It starts at concept 6. But it talks about group conscience is the spiritual means by which we invite a loving God to influence our decisions. And then it's followed by 3 more concepts that talk about the decision-making process. I'll just jump to the 9th one. And I definitely implore whoever it is that's not familiar with concepts, the same way that I've been learning about them, I implore you guys to, the literature and the documents are available for us at the click of a button. So I just definitely encourage you to take a look at it and learn a little bit, so that way we could possibly be more effective in carrying that message. But what it says here in concept 9 is all elements of our service structure have the responsibility to carefully consider all viewpoints in their decision-making process. So things don't come to fruition within the fellowship without some sort of a decision-making process. And that was really what the whole idea behind this workshop was to show, maybe you might know about consensus-based decision-making already. So this would be a reintroduction to it, maybe a tune-up. And if you don't know about it, this is a great way to learn about it. You know, we have to be open-minded when it comes to all aspects of recovery, whether it's, you know, personal recovery or through service, right? And in addition to that, there has to be like a willingness to learn something new. I was saying before, there's a reason why I'm the moderator and not a panelist, is because I'm still learning. So I do a pretty good job at introducing people, but I don't feel as if I have the information available to really, you know, educate people on processes or issues that we've been discussing in these workshops. So with that, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how we're going to do this tonight, and then we're going to go right into the panelists. We'll have 4 people sharing their experience with consensus-based decision-making, and the way that the panelists, the way that we structured the format was, it kind of goes right up the line as far as service goes. You know, we have someone with experience on the world level, on a zonal level, regional and area, and then we're going to end it with someone that has a tremendous amount of experience with using consensus-based decision-making on a group level. So hopefully we get enough information out there, so at least we begin to educate ourselves on different ways of coming to a consensus. Look, you know, honestly, like if you would have said to me like 2 years ago, like what a consensus was, I would have said, isn't that the people that come to your house this time of year and ask you whether, you know, you have like 2 dogs, a cat, and a child living in your house? So, you know, I mean, I've been learning as time goes on as a member in service, you know, I've been learning like what these things are. I remember I was really excited. I had got this book I ordered. It was a Robert Rules of Order book. I got it from Amazon because that's what everybody, you know, that's what all groups and service bodies in my area are using. They're utilizing, you know, the Robert's Rules model. And I remember getting the book, and I was all excited, and I got to area, and I was sitting with a friend that's in service as well. And I was like, hey, I just got this book, Robert's Rules. I'm going to be fine-tuned, and I'm ready to roll. And he said, you know, they're starting to use this thing called consensus-based decision-making. And my excitement just deflated. I was like, come on, man. I just ordered this book. I'm just starting to learn about it. And he said, well, listen, it's another way of coming to a decision on it, you know, to come to a conscience. So deflated, but nonetheless, I still studied the Robert's Rules. So I'm familiar with them. And then I started to do some research into consensus-based decision-making. And when I started to do that, and this is just my personal opinion, I'm not trying to sway anybody in any particular direction, but I got the feeling that by using a consensus-based decision-making process, to use that model, it was more of a true group conscience. I mean, it seemed like the outcomes of those meetings were more favorable, and a lot more people were happy about the decision that was made. So with that, you know, this is going to serve as an introduction to y'all, and maybe we can start to anticipate some changes, you know, down the line.